Hi, my name is Alexandra Meadows, and this is my persuasive speech on femicides in Latin America, why you should care. Have you heard what is happening in Latin America? Does the word femicide come to mind? For a majority of individuals, femicide does not cross their mind often, although statistically, femicides impact a lot of women, and is something that is ignored. Many turn a blind eye towards the subject, but why should you care about femicides? As a majority of people standing in this room are women, this is a topic you should pay attention to. You never think femicide is going to happen to you until you become a statistical representation of women who are violently murdered each year. As a prominent feminist myself, and someone who only wished to become an embodiment of Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, I have done an abundance of research on this topic, and wish to erase the consequences that femicide brings to Latin America. People should care about femicides happening in Latin America due to the societal acceptance of violence against women, how femicides impact American women too, and the easy ways in which femicide can be prevented. Femicide is occurring at record high levels in Latin America, yet us Americans rarely hear about it. Gender-based crimes take place in many manifestations, but affect women equally. Femicides are the killing of women and girls because of their gender, usually committed by a man. It is the most extreme form of violence against women, and the most extreme form of discrimination. Femicide can be done by family members and even complete strangers, and happens more often than you think. Especially at the border, the women who are mass murdered is astronomical. Stated by Arlene Alcaraz-Queño, in 2019 alone, more than 3,800 women were killed in Mexico. They are not murdered under normal circumstances. They are killed because they are females. Specifically in Latin American countries, the cultural norm of machismo, or men being viewed as superior to women, is prevalent. Stated by Arlene Alcaraz-Queño, machismo means a strong sense of pride that one has in being a man. The normalization of this behavior further drives the acceptance of women being lesser than men, which is just the beginning of where the tolerance of violence against women starts. Another attribution as to why femicides occur so frequently, as well as the undercoverage of the crime, is the societal acceptance of violence against women. Femicides do not occur randomly. It stems from abusive relationships. Stated by the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crimes, almost 6 out of every 10 women, 58%, internationally killed worldwide, were murdered by an intimate partner or family member, making the home the most likely place a woman is murdered. Due to the government and societal acceptance of violence against women, femicides are rampant in many countries, with no signs of stopping. While this may be a horrific thing to hear, many people probably have this thought circulating in their head. It's not in the US, so it doesn't impact me. But that's not true. Femicides occur in the US too. Stated by United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime, the rate of femicides were high in Americas in 2017, at 1.6 per 100,000 of the female population. If you still have reservations of the high amount of frequencies happening in the United States, let me ask the women in the room. When was the last time you felt safe walking down the street? Have you ever not clutched keys between your knuckles, watching your surroundings, hoping that no one would hurt you? With this feeling of fear and exhaustion entering your minds, can you imagine what Latin American women are feeling? Just because the highest frequencies of femicides are not happening in our region does not mean you shouldn't care. Currently, if you are feeling a strong sense of feministic anger and a will to change such heinous crimes happening in the United States, you should care about Latin America too. There are still women whose daughters do not make it home from school, and trans women who die on the way home from work. Femicides are not only circulated in the United States. It happens everywhere. Further, to both the men and the women in the room, I am calling you. I'm not only talking to the women. For the men in the room who are feeling perplexed or confused because not all men are like that, then change the narrative, because statistically, men are like that. It not only takes women to change the societal acceptance of femicides, it takes men too. While many of you are feeling this strong sense of wanting change, it may seem like a daunting task to make an impact in, but trust me, it's easier than you think. Making small steps to change the rigid narrative of protections of those who commit femicides can make a big impact in the future. Having difficult conversations with your loved ones, family members, neighbors is the first step to change the societal acceptance of femicides. Prevention is also key to ceasing femicides. When you see something that doesn't seem right to you, or maybe you think a woman is in danger, speak up. What you are witnessing is often the first occurrence, or the first red flag, in a sequence of violence that often ends in femicide. Another way to speak out is to protest. On National Women's Day, women in Latin America protested femicides. They protested government buildings in their countries and demanded action. If this seems like a lot for you, or very complex, there's easier solutions. You can call your local officials. Let them know your opinion and how femicides are very serious. Provide a call of action to implement women's protection in high-risk situations, like domestic violence survivors, restraining orders, etc. You can also donate. With such little research and data on the true amount of frequencies of femicides, it is ignorant to say there's a slight undercoverage of the true amount of femicides that occur. Donating to organizations like International Alliance of Women or UN Trust Fund to end violence against women aids in increasing data production and media coverage of femicides and providing emotional support to women who are victims. Oftentimes, Americans are blind and in their own bubble about negative actions happening in other countries. Although femicides happen in Latin America at a higher frequency, it still demands action and change. For many men and women who shout feminism from the rooftops, there seems to be a low disregard for Latin American women. Individuals should care about femicides happening in Latin America due to the high social acceptance of the crime, how femicides impact Americans too, and how easily prevention and awareness can be spread about the crime. Femicides are nothing new. They have been happening for centuries. For American men and women, many of them had never heard of femicide or understand how it still majorly affects them. With the high amounts of wiggle room Americans have to make change and make an impact, it's such a shame that they don't do it more frequently. People can ignore femicides. Not my country, not my problem, right? You never think it will happen to you until your little sister goes missing. The next day you found out she was murdered, with the crime being splattered all over the internet. This isn't just a Latin American issue. This is a global issue that needs more attention. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for your time.